How's it going, everyone? It's Juan Romero here from SwitchWatch. Hope you're all doing well. I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of our new subscribers. We've had an incredible last few days, so thank you so much for your support, and of course to all of our existing ladies and gentlemen that continue to support this channel. We really do appreciate it here as a team. Thank you so much. Now let's get on to today's business. I've got a review of Sniper Elite V2 on the Nintendo Switch. Let's check out whether this one then is worth your time and investment. Let's get into it. We're going to start this review as we usually do for ports like this, with visuals and performance. This has the added caveat of being the remastered version, which is launching at the same time on other platforms. If you want to play this in 4K though, you will of course need to consider another system, as this is not available on the Nintendo Switch. What the Switch does bring with it though is a good amount of improvements over the original release in 2012 in terms of the visuals, the environments, weapons, vehicles have all had extra detail added and looks good on the Switch. There's also the improved lighting, a number of refinements which makes the game run a little smoother, and in docked mode you're getting 1080p at 30 frames per second. I could not see the performance mode here, which is a real shame. It would have allowed the game to run at 60 frames per second, however you would have had to compromise on some of that visual fidelity, but alas, it's only available on other systems, which is unfortunate. In handheld, the game performs well. I did not come across too much stutter or slowdown, which meant the game ran rather smoothly. Touching on the controls, yes, for those of you that are looking for gyro controls, they are here. They work both well in handheld and with my Pro controller. So those of you that prefer aiming like this will enjoy it, as it certainly adds to it being more realistic, especially moving that crosshair around, but it's not for me personally. I found more precision using analog controls, but again, this is a personal preference of mine. One of the things I do love about this series though is that X-ray camera. It really is gruesome seeing how a bullet entering the body can have such dire consequences. It's interesting to see a bullet take out a person's testicles, or when a bullet goes through someone's eyeball, for example, in slow motion. Gruesome, yes, but something about it is rather satisfying. If you've never played this game before, I'm going to go into the rest of the review, starting with story and then gameplay. For those of you who have played the original and want to know if it's worth buying on the Switch, then there are no real performance issues other than some pop up from time to time, but it didn't spoil my playthrough at all. Is it worth your money? Well, stay tuned to find out. In terms of the story, as a protagonist, Karl Fairburne, an elite sniper, you are parachuted into Berlin amidst the Germans' final stand. The mission is simple: prevent the Nazi V2 rocket from falling into the hands of the Red Army. You must do whatever it takes to help get the job done. The story sets up the game nicely, but I never felt an affinity towards the character or care too much what happened to him, as there wasn't enough character development for what I like to see in a story-driven campaign, shall we say. I wasn't too bothered though. I was there to complete the missions at hand, and the little dialogue that there was enjoyable and served the game well, adding that much needed drama to proceedings. In terms of the gameplay then, gameplay in Sniper Elite V2 has not really changed since the original when talking about the campaign, other than being able to choose up to 8 characters from Rebellion's Zombie Army series. All DLC has been included, also including the Kill Hitler mission. And if you're looking to go in all guns blazing, then you're not going to survive very long here. This is very much about taking cover and reeling out a few well-placed shots to your enemy, only getting into close combat when absolutely necessary. At least for me, I never really lasted too long when the enemy got too close, and no, that's not what she said. The campaign gives the player a decent trek through environments which have been pretty beaten up by the war. Missions vary, which keeps the game from getting too stale, but most of the time you'll be maneuvering through environments stealthily, trying not to be seen, although the foes have this uncanny knack of seeing you no matter where you are, which is rather annoying to say the least. Now, you can lay traps, laying down mines or tripwires to take out the enemy, and missions do vary from assassinating a certain person, taking out convoys by laying down bombs and then shooting them from afar, blowing up bridges to stop the enemy to getting to where they need to go, and so on. It's all set out rather well, and each area will give you a decent challenge. although the enemy AI does leave a little to be desired at times. But if you do kill someone, your location will be revealed, if not using your pistol with a silencer, which is about as useful as a chocolate teapot from afar. Take a shot with your sniper, and you need to make sure that you make each shot count. And in here lies a huge issue for me. The sniper seems to often be very inaccurate. I've often aimed right at a foe and for whatever reason completely missed, and don't tell me it's because of the wind. I've played both part 3 and 4 of Sniper Elite, and the series has certainly moved on quite some way, and if you've played those, coming back to this will expose some of the limitations of this game, and it will show also how linear this one is. Stay in the same place and you're not going to last too long, so it is about getting into cover constantly, and one of the frustrations I found is no matter how quiet I was, how well I tried to avoid being seen, I would often be spotted, and once you're spotted, all hell breaks loose. You're fired upon until you're dead, and for a game that's about getting through using stealth, it felt at odds, especially as fighting enemies close by is not something you are best equipped for. Some missions do involve you getting past or taking out vehicles. There's always some nice surprises to keep you on your toes, and finding high ground is essential to give you the best view, best shots, and of course not to be taken out by the enemy as easily, as there are lots of buildings where you can explore to do this. There are some aids if playing on a lower difficulty, from being able to mark your targets when using binoculars, which really proves handy to leaving a ghost behind you so that enemies will shoot the ghost instead of you, giving you time to move elsewhere. For those that want the ultimate challenge, then playing on the higher difficulty will remove all of these aids. Another issue I had was the controls at times. Someone on my gameplay video recently in handheld asked if I was getting cramp in my fingers, and to be fair, they weren't far wrong. To zoom in with your scope and take a shot and hold your breath will require most of the trigger buttons being held on the top of the console, which does not feel great. You do get used to it after a while. Gripes aside, I found the gameplay to be rather compelling at times, and as I said, my gameplay video, my favourite of the series is definitely Sniper Elite 4, but this probably a close second for me. There's nothing quite like moving your soldier into position, scoping out an enemy for some movement using your binoculars, looking around patiently for any movement, a reflection of light, or listening for any sort of noise, and once found, you then change over to your sniper scope and line up that shot, hold your breath and hit the trigger, and if done right, that X-ray camera will pan in and take over for a close-up view of your shot, doing some serious damage to your foe. What makes this even more compelling is receiving points for the quality of the shot, taking into account such things as distance and the part of the body you have hit. Headshots will always fare well for you. There are other ways to take out enemies: short range, use your pistol with an attached silencer, or get close enough for that stealth kill. You can move the bodies also so they don't get noticed, and search them for goodies that you may need. You can also get into firefights with enemies using your machine gun, but you seldom come out on top when choosing to take on your enemies in this way. It will often result in death. Other things you can do, like throw a rock to distract your enemy while you sneak by. All of these things give you options in successfully completing the missions. There are also lots of secrets to find for those of you who are completionists. There is a photo mode for those of you who want to capture your best shots and share, which is novel, but best of all is you can play the game in co-op mode with a friend, which is really fun also, but these can only be played online, which is a shame. If in docked mode, there's no split screen here. However, having two switches in the same room and playing is superb fun. There are 7 online modes also, which you can take part in, from death matches to capture the flag. Then there are other modes which can be played in co-op or single player, which is a range of DLC missions like Capture the Führer, which is awesome to prolong this experience long after the campaign is finished, as well as shooting hidden bottles and finding gold bars for those collectibles. The sound design here is of good quality. Bullets sound good, especially when ripping through a corpse. There's some narrated parts which add a little bit of immersion to the stories, and Nazi speak in their native tongue, and the music is also very good at setting the tone. Moving on to value, the game does cost £29.99, $34.99 or €34.99, and you'll get 10% discount if you order a digital copy. These prices are the same across all platforms. I do think the price is okay for a game which has a good sized campaign, coming in at about 7 hours with lots of difficulty options. There's also the co-op play, both locally if you have 2 switches, and online modes to play with friends or randoms across the world. It also comes with those extra missions, all the previously released DLC, which is okay as well, but the Switch is so competitive right now on that eShop, so this could have done with being a little bit cheaper. Although for those of you that are collectors, you may want to think about that physical edition. Sniper Elite V2 Remastered is a good piece of software from Rebellion, but there are some frustrations. It's priced rather competitively and the game itself is quite compelling, but it could be better, only really exposed by its rather better latest Sniper Elite 4 in the series. However, everything here has been done with a good level of polish, and while Switch owners don't get the performance mode or the ability of course to play this in 4K, we do get a lot of other things, plus the advantage to play portably and with gyro controls for those that like having that on their shooters. A good game and one that people will enjoy, whether it's the first time or here for a revisit. A 7 then, out of 10. Ladies and gentlemen, I do hope that you've enjoyed this review. As you can see, our videos are not sponsored in any way, but we do have adverts running through them, about 5 seconds or so we hope that doesn't bother you too much. The reason we have those running is any income that we make from these videos is reinvested into the channel to make it better for you, ladies and gentlemen, in the future. So please do support us by leaving a like if you don't mind and you enjoyed this video, and of course if you're a new watcher here, then why not consider subscribing? Would really appreciate that and would love to see you on our next video. If you want to be notified of our next review, then make sure you also hit that bell notification. What about this game then, ladies and gentlemen? Leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts. Are you going to double dip on this one, or is this going to be the first time you ever played a game on the Nintendo Switch? My name is Juan Romero from SwitchWatch. As I say, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again on the next one. Take care.